Hello there, badgers. One angry pagan here. Come here, Muppet. And there's the Muppet. And there is a ball, and there's a tennis racket. And there you go. So it's Labour conference this week. And once again, Labour aren't doing a lot to really engender too much confidence in people. Despite the fact they have got good policies, to me, they're ruining any goodwill with those policies, with bad policies and bad communication. Now, I had a long, interesting chat last night with a few people. And one of the disagreements I keep having with people is about Labour's economics. And hello, Muppet. It's I feel a bit torn, right? Because whilst I may not be an economic fucking genius or anything, it's, you know, to be fair, I've only recently gotten into economics. Or started learning about it, at least, relatively speaking, over the past few years. But from what I've learned, when it comes to economics, like, you actually have to be careful with how much your policies will cost. Not just in monetary terms, but how your economic policy may affect social policy. Yeah? And I have a fear that too many of us on the left who want big, massive changes don't, when they think about these things, what they don't seem to think about is what will their policies cost economically, socially, you know? I mean, one of the arguments I hear from people about Labour is, you know, well, the SNP managed to do stuff, so why can't you guys? And to a point, you know what, I get that position, right? But I would also counter with, yeah, but you didn't go fully socialist, did you? There are costs to this stuff. And unfortunately, there are too many people in our society that are, in my eyes, overly sensitive about how much a policy may financially cost. But despite that, we are at a situation where, you know, more nationalisation has happened in this past year and a half than in the last, 40, 50 years. You doing, Muppet? Well, bring me a ball then. No, bring it here. Now, I said before, one of the problems I have with people just screaming out about wealth taxes is that it's not that simple. It's not just a corporate thing of, green policies aren't that easy, wealth taxes aren't that easy. No, it's a literal fact. They're not that easy. It sounds theoretically easy, but it isn't. Where's your ball gone? Where is it? Where is that ball gone? I'll find it. I can see the ball. I don't know if you guys can see the ball. I can see the ball. There she is. Dipstick. You dipstick. You muppet. Come here then. Come here then. Well, come here then. Come here then. Good girl. So, yeah, for example, with wealth taxes, when people talk about wealth taxes, right, quite often you'll hear, oh, we did wealth taxes before in the 50s and 60s. Right. Okay, so do you know how we were able to do that then? What do you know what the conditions were for us to be able to achieve that? And quite often, it's a case of that doesn't matter, we're in different situations. Well, are you trying to call for the same shit then? Now, I will repeat myself, as I've repeated myself before about this stuff. I am not against wealth taxes, obviously. What I have a problem with is people just shouting about wealth taxes without actually having a plan for it. A realistic plan. Not just one that sounds good. It's the same with environmental policy, you know. Right? There's a whole load of stuff that sounds good. Like this, the carbon capture stuff sounds good, but it's the only uses for it really are niche. So it's about actually looking at realistic policies that do good. I don't just want policies that are good, if that makes sense. It's like, okay, some may not like this comparison, but it's like the 2019 election, right? The first election I really got into. The first election I actually paid attention to, right? And Jeremy Corbyn and his team come out with this free Wi-Fi policy. People liked it, but they didn't think he'd achieve it. They thought it was unrealistic. And when I asked why, more often than not, I was told, well, where's the current infrastructures to set that up? You know, where are the, you know, have we got all the work for this? We got this, we got that. They just didn't believe it. They liked the policy. They just didn't believe he could achieve it. And again, I'm not drawing this from polls or what someone said on the internet or what someone said in a newspaper. I'm drawing this from what people said to me when I was arguing for Corbyn's Labour in 2019's general election. Because I saw the danger that was coming. But people just kept telling me I don't believe it. It's not a realistic policy. Which is fucking brutal. Because look where that left us. It's a pain in the ass, right? It's not just a pain in the ass, it's a motherfucker. That we on the left have to do this, where we actually have to come up with realistic policies that will work, right? That sound like they actually will work, whereas the right wing only have to come up with policies that sound like they might work. I hate it, but that seems to be the reality of the situation. So instead of bitching about it, I'm just going to live with it and deal with the reality as it is, right? So because the reality is as it is, and people in this country are not trusting enough of policies that sound fantastical with no plan to actually achieve it, you know, like I have to think in a way that isn't idealistic for me. I have to vote tactically. You know? Are you having fun, are you muppet? Are you? Are you having a whale of a time, are you? Go on then. Where's he gone? Ah, see that? She bounces around like an impala. A little springbok. Ah, bucks, I'm no good with the what? The balls are going everywhere. Where's the other one gone? Well, bring him here then. Go get your ball. No. Wait, muppet. Go get your other. No. Go get your other ball. Dipstick. Where's your. That's it. No, muppet. Bring it in. Where's it gone? Where's it gone, muppet? Where's it gone? Go find your ball. Where's your ball gone? Good girl. Come on then. I didn't even see where I hit that, to be fair. Like, that could have very well just dropped on the roof. I wouldn't have known. That wasn't very clever. So yeah. But realistic green policy, for example, you know, building, rewilding in areas that need it. So green policy, to me, gets really confusing after a while, because what it actually comes down to is every other policy area ends up being affected by green policy. So house building. If we're house building, we cannot be building anymore on low plains, especially on the southeastern side of the country, because that's where most of the lowlands are. We need to be more smart, more intelligent where we're building. Not just picking a flat spot. I think that's fine, because, you know, that flat spot might actually be vulnerable to flooding down the line, because you're actually on a a floodplain. Hello, Muppet. What are you doing? Come here then. Come here then. You know, you guys know about my constant banging on about but the biodiversity policies. We don't just need to have the small things. We have a major deer overpopulation issue that's causing ecological damage. We need their predators back. Now, you could say that's not a realistic policy, but Denmark has wolves again. That's not far away. And it's not 100 years ago. It's not even 50 years ago. We know how to how to coexist with wolves. We've just got to teach people how to do it. Farming. You know, what our government needs to be doing is pushing forward the regenerative farming schemes. You know, saying to farm and subsidising those farmers that go for that sort of things. You know, to rejuvenate the soil. Crack down on battery farms. Continue with one good thing that they have been doing is the badger vaccination thing, which I've not heard the Green Party talk about. it's all well and good to say that I like the Green Party. I do like the Green Party, but again, I don't just want a progressive party to support. I want a realistically progressive party to support. I want a Green Party that has an actual plan for its policies. I want to hear I want to hear not just the Green Party but other parties admit that, you know what, we do need to make fixes, but these fixes won't be without a cost. Which I have to say, I saw that Starmer is going to say as such in his speech. He's right. He's right, because when you look through history, very, very rarely are there do you find policies that are absolutely cost-free. And I'm not just talking about money either. I'm talking about any social societal consequences of your policies. Because whilst you want your policies to do a certain thing, they're more than likely to have unintended consequences. What needs to be done, in my eyes, oh shit, I missed that, amongst the left, what needs doing is an accounting for any costs, societal or otherwise, that may occur because of what we want to do. And unfortunately, I don't know if many leftists can do that. And it hurts for me to say that, really, because I consider us to be the more logical side, you know? I consider the left to be more logical than the right. And yet, when it comes to, accounting for the social, economic, whatever costs to any policy, we can't seem to do it. We can't seem to, go, look, these things might have a cost, but it needs to be done. And that's, I in a way I understand it, but it's not real. I'm sorry, but it's not realistic. There are, from what I've been able to tell, there are no absolutes when it comes to politics, or very few absolutes when it comes to politics, at least. People want these things, want these different things. I mean, it does matter when people keep shouting, oh, we need a revolution. And I'm like, how many times throughout history have we had a revolution and lots of people have died? I don't think people actually take that on board on the left, for those who are revolutionary. I want big ideas, but I want big ideas that will work. I want big ideas that people can get on board with without having to think too much about it. Which doesn't sound great, I get, but... give me your ball, Muppet. Ball. No, bring it here. No, not that ball. Go get your ball. Bring it here. See, this is why I don't completely argue with Labour on budgeting. Because you know what? The Tories did leave us in a shit position financially. And when I listen to economists and whatnot talk, it's not just as easy as tax the wealthy, especially when the wealthy can move their wealth offshore. And land value tax would, whilst is a good idea, and I think is probably the best idea right now, the most realistic one, at least when it comes to green policy. When it comes to wealth taxes, but while that's the case, we have to realise that while we need wealth taxes, we need to think about how it's done properly. Can I have your ball, please? Oh, it's doing a poo. Lovely. Put the boots back on. Yeah, I was just stood out here with my boots off. Double-edged socks. Don't worry, you guys aren't going to see this. I'm not going to subject you to it. I mean, it'd be nice if I knew where she actually did do it. What is it with dogs that they'll do a shit? You won't have a fucking clue where they did it. Okay, I found it. That looks horrible, dog. So yeah, you know, I want to hear actual plan. So yeah, what I'm really getting at here is I want to hear actual plans, not just, you know, spitball. Not just spitball, because surely we are past the point at this point. Are we not? Have we not passed the point of just spitballing ideas now? Like, are we not now at the position where we start actually thinking about this stuff seriously, to a level where we can go, right, we'll actually make plans on how we can enact this stuff, rather than continuing to come up with new ideas? And I don't hear that. If Zach Polanski has been speaking on that subject, let me know. Send me links. But I've not heard him talk about exactly how he's going to get these progressive policies done. He says wealth taxes, but how? How is he going to make them do it? How is he going to make the rich people pay their fucking taxes? The Green Party have been around for years now. Zach Polanski has had a few years warming up to this. We on the left have had ages to talk about what policies might, you know, all sorts of different policies. Now, in my opinion, we need to stop the procrastination. We need to start talking about realistic options and how to enact them. Which of the options proposed are the most realistic, right? And which are going to be the least costly to enact, either financially or socially, respectively, respecting, obviously. I mean, there are certain things we're going to do which we're going to have to take the hit for. You know, if we're going to make eventually we're going to make an economy that's more about cooperatives, make the workplace more democratic and whatnot, then that's going to have an effect on the economy. Someone on Discord was telling me about post-Labour economics, where I think everything's being automated and whatnot. I don't know. To me, this is all theoretical still. And just like physics, you know, for example, theoretically, the superconducting super collider that America was going to build during the during the 90s and noughties, theoretically, fucking epic. But actually getting it done was stupidly expensive. Which is why eventually they found a better way of doing this stuff. Instead of just one nation doing it, getting a bunch of nations to come together and do it. Which I have to say is how wealth taxes were effectively done last time. International agreement. You may not like it, but we have to fight. We have to make our politicians fight for an international agreement on wealth taxes. Now, you can say that's unrealistic, but I'm telling you, that is the only realistic way. That is one of the only ways we were able to get proper wealth taxes in the way that people were talking about. Well, give me your ball then. Well, give it here then. Where are you going? Come here. Good girl, my pig. Well, come here then. Donut. Oh shit. I mean, what I want to hear, do you know what I want to hear? I'm not just talking about the Green Party here. I'm talking about Liberal Democrats, Labour and the Green Party and the SNP and the Plaid Community, right? I want to hear what their plans are to build up our green infrastructure. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear material plans. I don't want to hear like some wishy-washy fucking wealth. I want to hear some wishy-washy twaddle, some ethereal thing. I want to hear material policies. Like, I'm on board with, for example, solar panels on all buildings, on all homes. But there is a problem with certain people not being able to have solar panels on their roofs because their roofs don't point in the direction of the sun. Actually, arranging it on their roof is not as easy as you'd think. There's also the thing about heat pumps. There are some houses that are just not able to facilitate the crossover. So what do we do there? I want to hear solutions to these things, not just, bullshit. So what? I want the Green Party to do better. I want them to be more prominent. What I don't want is for them to do a Jeremy Corbyn and put people off with what people think are, and this, I will admit, this will come down to perception, right? Maybe not even realism. So, whilst I say I want realistic policies, Zach Valansky, you could very well be coming up with realistic policies, but if they don't sound realistic to the voters, then they're not going to go for it. And there's evidence for that. Which is a fucking pain in the ass, in my honest opinion. Does not help our cause, does it? It doesn't help us if whilst we think our policies are realistic, but the voter base does not. The average voter needs to be cajoled into believing this stuff, which is why I want Labour to do better on the green transition, right? I'm going to say this again, by the way, because I swear people seem to think that I'm still a Labour member, like I'm a Labour shill or something. I'm not. I left the fucking party, for crying out loud. And right now, I'm not planning on joining. It is crossing my mind whether I should, but no, I'm not. And it's not, and me crossing my mind as to whether or not I should rejoin the party, it's got nothing to do with having faith in the party at all. That's a misunderstanding of how I think. For me, it's more about what are if I can rejoin and cause some change, I might do that. Bull. Now, Bull. She dropped her ball in her water bowl, the little shit. Yeah, I've taken to bring a bag with me with all the balls in it, and a water bowl, and a water bottle. Especially when I'm just coming up the field or something like this. What a dipstick. Are you finding it, are you? I saw where it landed. Are you finding it, are you, Muppet? Where's your ball gone? Well, find it. Find that ball. You donut. Where's your ball gone? Go find your ball. Well, where is it? Where's the ball gone? Oh, she's homing in on it. She's homing in on the potato. Oh, yeah. Look, nearly. Yeah, maybe. Yep, there we go. Good girl. Come on then, Muppet. You coming? Good girl. Good girl, Muppet. Oh. Okay then. I couldn't hit the ball for some reason. Now that was just a pain in the ass. You know when you flick the ball up, right? You know when you flick the ball up, right? But it's like that, right? So you want to flick it up and then turn it over so you can smack it. Well, yeah, I flung it. I decided to turn the tennis racket over before the ball had even left the racket. Labour are pissed. Streeting is pissing me off. I have to admit, you know, with the private, the amount of private money he's got, and I'm really disgusted. It's not just that. You know, this obviously his trans position as well, which is absolutely fucking disgusting. Why him? For fuck's sake. I really don't like Wes Streeting. You guys know there's only one person within the Labour cabinet at the moment that I actually like, and that's Ed Miliband, because Ed's a ledge, and I won't have any words said against him on that one. But does that mean I want him as the new as the Prime Minister? I mean, there's part of me that does, I have to admit, but does that do I realistically want him as Prime Minister? No, not right now. I don't think Ed would be the best bet right now. Hello, Moppy. I think there's still too many people that are unhappy with how he performed last time he was leader. for that. Despite the fact I think like he would be a really powerful force for green energy if he became prime minister. Like he would probably, I see him pushing back more heavily on Trump when it came to the green transition. I actually do. I mean, he hasn't actually stopped. You know, he's not fallen back on his position when it comes to green energy. But, you know, again, when we talk about Starmer not being a great, not being the best leader, not being the prime minister we need right now, who do we replace him with? Realistically speaking, not who would you like. Realistically speaking, who would be best? I would have said Angela Rayner personally, but she's not in the cabinet. I don't think she's in the running for that. Or at least she wouldn't be in the running for that for a few years now, unfortunately. So, yeah. Who? And it's all well and good saying, oh, anyone but Starmer. No, I don't want that wishy-washy twaddle. Who? That is asking for instability, that is. Or more instability, I should say. Kicking a leader out, but not knowing who you actually want in as your replacement. Nah. I'm sorry. If you're going to call for Starmer to go, have a realistic replacement option, please. It goes back to my whole realism issue. Realism over ideology, in my opinion. Pragmatism over ideology. Because that's democracy, unfortunately. Unfortunately, that's democracy. You have to try and get on with people you may not agree with, because we live in a society where not everyone fucking agrees. That is democracy. Democracy isn't where, you know, everyone has, you know, everyone always, you know, everyone's always on board. Everyone's on board with each other. It's just the finer details that they have differences with. You know, that's not how it works. It might be how you want it to work, but that's not how it works. Not in this country, at least. Not in this union, at least. Not in this country within this union. There are socially conservative and right-wing economically parts of the voter base who don't agree with our positions. What we need to find is where we have common ground with these people. Or at least some of their voter base. Which is why, when it comes to battling reform, I say go more heavily on the environment and green energy. But again, from all parties on that front, I want to hear realistic policies on how we're going to upgrade the infrastructure. I want to hear from Labour, I want to hear in the next budget, money going towards the building up of our green energy infrastructure. And I actually recognise, because when I call for these things, I recognise there's going to be a cost. I know it's going to be bloody expensive, but these are things that this is something that needs doing. Like, there's no question about that one. We've got green energy, we just need a way to be able to use it properly, utilise it properly. I'm serious. We have geothermal sources, we've got wind energy, we've got solar energy, we're going into tidal, you know, we've got nuclear fusion, we've got nuclear fission. What needs doing is upgrading the infrastructure to cope with the more modern energy source, with these energy sources. I want to hear more ideas like the Environment Bank, you know, like companies being able to pull their money together to create, so that like they can't just get away with not building houses because, you know, oh we can't build because the environmental regulations. They haven't got that they haven't got that excuse anymore. Where's your ball gone? Where's your ball gone? Dipstick. Where's your ball? Where is it? Ball gone. I find it. Oh, no. Going the wrong way. I can see the ball, by the way. She's been donut. Where's your ball gone? It's not over there. Where's your ball? Where is it? Where is it, Muppet? Where is your ball? I'll find it. Where's that ball gone? Oh. You can see that they work off of their whiskers and their nose, can't you? Like, yeah, they do use their eyes as well, but like, it was her nose at the end there that got her the ball. That was funny. You could notice it as she was about to pass over the ball. She was like, "Whoa, I can smell it." So, yeah, you know what? Big Madge and a different bias mistrust Zach Polanski. I think that he has questions to answer on that front. I think he has to, or at the very least, he needs to prove that he's not a sneak. Just doing this just doing this because he's on the populism wave. I don't want that. That's what I think both Madge and Phil are worried about, which is funny considering that both Phil and Big Madge don't like each other. You know? So, like, for those two to have similar opinions on Zach Polanski, I'm a bit like, oh, okay, maybe there's something there, but you know what? What I want Zach Polanski to do is prove that he's not just a populist. I want him to prove that he can get material changes done. I want him to have realistic plans. That's what I want from the Green Party. That doesn't mean I'll vote for them here, because even when I was in the Labour Party, I couldn't vote for the Labour Party here. So, unfortunately, that's not going to affect my voting. Not unless the Greens somehow become a viable voting option here in Torbay or South Devon, depending on what constituency it's labelling as us. So yeah, let me know what you guys think on this. It's kind of spawned from an argument I ended up having with a friend last night on Discord, and I didn't mean to make him angry. It was a piss poor choice of words. I compared Zach Polanski, or the Green Party policy, to being in danger of Liz Truss territory when it came to screwing up our economy, and he didn't take that well. I didn't mean to upset him. I just worry that Green Party policy is going to make the markets freak and will screw up our economy. That does worry me. It shouldn't, but it does. Because of Liz Truss. I wouldn't be worried about this if it wasn't for Liz Truss. And that does not mean, and I repeat myself, that does not mean that I think that any Green Party policy is going to try and push money from the poor to the rich. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that I don't want the bond markets and the investor and the people with the big money that invest into this country so we can get shit done. I don't want them to freak on the level that they freaked out at Liz Truss. That's what I mean. It was a piss poor choice of words on my part, I have to admit, because I just directly compared it to, I just directly compared Green policy to Liz Truss, and that wasn't a good. That was a really, really poor choice of words on my part. But I'm still going to stand to the point of I'm worried that they will freak the markets like Liz Truss did. And pisses me off because I wish we didn't have to be beholden to these markets. But look how much damage they did. We can't. It's not. This is a case of where we can't just ignore the markets and do what we want. This is what I meant. This is partly what I mean by realistic. Can we get Can we get progressive policies past the bond market that is already mistrustful of the UK right now? It's boring. It's boring, guys. I get it, but this is one of the things I'm worrying about. Are we? If we are to be taken seriously, right, as a political force, if we want the Greens to be taken seriously as a political force, then we do have to get people on board, and that means, whilst having progressive policies, I want to hear realistic plans for enacting these policies. Come here then. Come here, Moppet. Where's your ball? Oh, hello, Moppet. Oh, hello, Moppet. How far you got now, Moppet? Good girl. Well, give it here then. No, don't walk off with it, you dickhead. Dipstick. So, it sounds neoliberal, doesn't it? Wanted to make sure that the progressive policy can get past the bond market, but if the bond markets do actually affect our economy that much, we can't just ignore that. We need to know what possible effect our policies might have on such fiscal areas, fiscal and economic areas. Because what I don't want is there to just be to us to go ahead with something and go, oh yeah, there was always going to be a cost, but did there need to be that particular level of cost? Give me a ball. And this, I will repeat, give me your ball. No, you're not just chucking it in the water bowl and fucking leaving it there, you shit. Again, I do want Green Party to do better. I want the Green Party to succeed. I want any nominally progressive party to succeed. I want the Tories and Reform to continue to lose. But I want policies that are gonna harm the least amount of people, and isn't gonna fuck our economy. Like, oh, we should just fully nationalise everything. Do you realise how much that would cost? Pay for it with wealth taxes. Right. How do you want to enact these wealth taxes? What type of wealth taxes? How are you going to stop the wealthy from just moving their money offshore? I want to hear all this. You know, I don't just want to hear, there are simple answers to these complex problems, because that's not true. I'm sorry. You can try to argue the toss of me all you like, but no, there are no simple answers to these complex problems. That's exactly what fucking Reform are trying to do. That's what the sort of Tory party have been trying to do. I don't want to hear that there are simple answers to complex problems, unfortunately, because there fucking aren't. However, I will say that you can come up with, complex solutions to complex problems whilst making it sound simple. That, I think, is something else that needs to be thought about. What do you guys think on that one? Right. I get that we've all got different ideas. It goes back to what I was talking about, living in a democracy. Yes, we all have different ideas about how we want the country to work. Even on the left, we have, no, this way. Oi! This way. We should fucking run off to some random dude sitting over there chilling out. Muppet. Dipstick. What are you doing? Yeah, what are you doing? You Muppet. So yeah, sorry, I find myself politically in a weird place, because in no way have I backtracked on any of my progressive beliefs. That's why I left the Labour Party. But at the same time, I don't feel, I can trust the Lib Dems, because they're forming partnership with the Tories. And as of right now, I need to be proved. I need to be given trust. Like the Greens need to prove that they need to earn my trust. I'm not gonna. I tell you, I'm not gonna join any party for ideological reasons. I'm gonna join the party that has the. If I join another party, I should say, I'm only going to join another party if they have a realistic policies that will work. Otherwise, I will just decry or praise any individual policies any government might come up with. Any different party might come up with. Again, it's not like I disapprove of taxing the rich. I do. I do approve of taxing the rich. Of course I do. I just want a realistic plan to do it. Is that so hot? Is that so bad a thing to want? You do it, Muppet. Hey? Serves me right for getting a cheap ass tennis racket. Go on then, Muppet. Are you coming? See ya. Let me know what you guys think. I'm kind of in a tough. I feel like I'm in a stuck position. yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'll probably do some more on this at some point. I really need to get around to continuing the environments. Really need to get around to continuing to look at Ed Miliband's statement on the environment. Really want to get around to continuing to watch that. But yeah, so yeah, let me know what you think on what I've had to speak about today, because I didn't mean to upset my friend last night. That was no intention of mine, and I feel like I've been misunderstood, at least in part, and that I can't blame on my friend. That's my fault, because I used piss poor comparison. I could not get across my point because I didn't know what the right way was to work. I couldn't work out the right way to word it, so I just compared it directly to Liz Truss. That was bad on my part. But I still think my core point is valid. So yeah. It's getting a bit warm from it. What are you doing, Muppet? For some reason she wanted to go in there. I don't know why. So yeah. I'm stuck, and I like to know what you guys think about my quandary, my dilemma. So for me, come here, Muppet. Come here then. For me and for my Muppet, who's getting all hot and bothered now. Okay. No, I'm not all hot and bothered. What are you talking about? I just want you to hit the ball for me. Fine. Let's go for it. So yeah, from me and from her, do have a good day, Badgers. Stay safe. Freaks, love and blessings to all of you.